Tucked away in the heart of Assiniboine Park is the fine dining restaurant Terrace 55. Now, if you're looking for something a little more romantic, this is definitely the place you want to be. You're gonna love it. Okay, Andrea, I'm not gonna lie, my husband's favorite leaf is the butter leaf. I don't know why, he just, anytime I make a salad, he's like, oh, there's no butter leaf on it.
It's nice and it's soft and it's creamy.
It is creamy.
That's a beautiful texture.
That's why people love it. And you can get them here, you know, there's a lot of local butter leaf lettuce.
And that's what this is. This is local from Namibia. So we have some edamame beans. For those of you that don't know, they're soybeans. So these are the raw soybeans, basically.
Now, are the raw hard?
No, they're...
Can I try one of these? Yeah, try. Oh yeah, okay.
They have a little bit of texture to them, a little bit of bite, but they're not like dried or anything. We're going to add into it what we like to call our compressed cucumber. But what we've done to this is we've actually lightly pickled it. So a little bit of Japanese mirin, which is a sweet vinegar.
Okay.
Some sugar, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And then we've compressed it in our cryovac bag. So we've taken all the air out and squished it a little bit and compressed those flavors into it. Wanna try some?
I sure do. So essentially, you've made your own pickle.
A little quick pickle, yeah.
Oh, it's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a sweet pickle, so put a little bit of that in there. And then we've got these lovely sliced up asparaguses, some julienne Napa cabbage, some beautifully thin red peppers.
The red pepper's nice because it gives it that nice color.
It gives it some nice color, especially against so much green. A little bit of green onions. We're going to take our delicious house-made sesame ginger soy dressing.
Okay, so what's all in that?
So it's a little bit of orange juice, sesame oil, ginger, soy, a little bit of canola oil, and we just blend that all up.
So a whole lot of good stuff in there that we're going to put on the salad, basically.
So it takes a lot of dressing. The edamame beans themselves are super absorbent of it. We have our butter lettuce nicely laid out here on the plate. I'm just going to use my hands.
And we will be sure to put this recipe for the sauce right on our website so you'll be able to make it at home anytime.
It's an easy dressing. You don't have too much pre-preparation for it. So then we're going to take a little bit of the wakame seaweed salad that you can just buy at any good Asian grocery store. It's nice and nutty and sort of get a little hint of salt from it. Put that there. And then we're going to finish with a little bit of fresh cilantro.
Andrea, this looks delicious.
So that's your completed edamame salad with a ginger soy dressing.
Okay, now my real question is, can I taste it?
Absolutely you can. It's a little bit of a knife and fork dish, but...
Okay, here we go. I have to say, if my husband was here, he would be all over the salad because of the butter leaf. It's amazing with all the different textures and the crunch, but I have to say the one thing that brings everything together is that sesame dressing.
It absolutely does. The great thing is though is that you're going to get a different textural play in your mouth.
For every bite that you take.
Right, because
literally.
There's different elements. So like sometimes you get a little bit of the wakame or some cilantro and it adds that pop of freshness in there, or a little bit of the earthy tones.
Let's add a little bit of that topping while we're at it.
It's a salad you don't get bored with.
Very well done. Very delicious. I would highly recommend this if you come to Terrace in the Park. This is something you definitely need to order.
Oh my gosh, well, look around. The lighting is beautiful, winter or summer. It's a great place to have both a lovely lunch and then spend time in the gardens or the conservatory. So it's one of Winnipeg's jewels.
Okay, so Andrea, this is the beginnings of one of my favorite things, which is chicken livers. So what is your style of chicken liver?
We do our chicken livers slightly differently in that we deep fry them. So basically I just salt and pepper Obviously, to start with, a little bit into the chicken livers into the flour toss, get our fingers a little bit dirty, make sure that they're all nicely coated. You don't obviously want too much extra flour on there either though, so what we usually do is just give them a little shake, and then we just take them over to the deep fryer. Just let them get all nice and crispy, and just straight onto a paper towel. Okay, well, we've got the livers deep fried, and if you want to just maybe take a step back, this may splash a little bit. It goes into the pan.
Or a lot of it.
I did warn you that there may be some splashing. Really hot pan. We're going to throw our tomatoes in right here at the end. So basically that's a balsamic, a little bit of veal stock, some shallots, and that we just reduce that all down. Quickly just throw the tomatoes in there just to warm them through, get them all nicely glazed. So we put our 3 tomatoes there. Obviously this is a fairly fast dish because the livers are very delicate and you don't want them to sit too long. So just put them in a nice little pile. So you're gonna get a little bit of a crisp outside and then that nice smooth texture for the inside. We can a little bit polishing up here. A little bit of herb on top just to make it pretty. So that is our completed dish. And that is our house chicken livers.
And as you can see, I have my fork and knife ready to taste this. So, any tips? Get a little bit of everything?
A little bit of everything. Those heirloom tomatoes are beautiful right now. I would definitely get a bite of those.
I'm such a fan of this. You have no idea. Love the texture. And actually, when I've made my chicken livers, I've never deep fried them, but I have to say, I love the crispy texture on the outside of the liver. It really just adds more to the dish.
It adds a little bit of texture. It adds a textural element that I think are often missing in chicken livers because quite often it's smooth on smooth on smooth. So, which is delicious, but this gives you that little crunch right at the beginning and then into that. I think it just adds a certain interest to your mouth.
And for those who are afraid to try chicken livers, what would you say to them?
I would say, you know, out of the liver family, they're the most mild, and most people who don't like liver, it's because they haven't had good liver. If you eat really good liver, you're gonna learn to love it.
That is true. I will say something weird about me growing up is that I loved liver and onions simply because my grandparents would always make it, and if I wanted to eat, I didn't really have a choice. But the chicken liver, exactly, for the newbies, trying liver for the first time, it's great because it is mild, and these are delicious, and they're so creamy. So if you want good chicken livers, come to Terrace 55. Chef Andrea will definitely hook you up.
Couldn't write down all those yummy recipes in time? meghanduffy.ca has everything online, complete with tips from Meghan and Chef. Also, be sure to connect with us on social media to get a sneak peek at upcoming episodes, behind-the-scenes footage, and exclusive news.
Call 12 Stone Creations for your home repairs, renovations, and maintenance. From small repairs to large projects, we've got you covered. For more details, visit us at 12stonecreations.com or call us at 204-599-3357.
Do you own or manage a restaurant that you would love to have featured on Meghan's menu? If so, email us and tell us everything about your establishment. But hurry, our next season is booking up fast. If you're interested in being on the show or working with us behind the scenes, we have volunteer opportunities available, and we would love to hear from you.
Well, I work at Assiniboine Park, so the convenience is one thing, but I love the food, the service, the atmosphere.
Okay, so up next we're cooking chicken. Tell us about this dish.
So it's a pistachio and cranberry stuffed chicken. What we have is we're going to finish with this nice organic chicken breast skin on.
That is a
Bone
huge
out.
chicken breast.
So what we're going to do is we're basically going to take this chicken, we're going to dice it up a little bit. Do you want to do that?
Sure, absolutely.
Pistachios and some cranberries here. 20 grams of pistachios, 60 grams of dried cranberry. We have a little bit of garlic powder, salt, pepper, cream, and a little bit of egg for binder. And we're gonna end up with a finished product that looks something similar to this.
This is a bit interesting. Okay, so this is all of these things frozen.
Frozen.
And the reason it's frozen is because,
It's easier to put in the chicken.
okay, so we have our chicken.
That's going straight in.
Got it.
We're gonna add in our garlic powder, pepper, a little bit of salt, chop up some parsley.
Okay.
We're just gonna take this chicken. You can see it's all nice and broken down now. So we're gonna add a little bit of the egg.
Throw the parsley in.
Yep. And then our pistachios and our dried cranberries. Just if you have on your mixer a pulse, that's the way to do it. Just so they incorporate. And then finally the cream, which just adds some richness and smoothness to the dish. There's lots of different ways to stuff a chicken, obviously. I mean, at home, you can do away with the freezing part, but for production purposes, it is much easier for us when we're doing, large amounts of the chicken, especially for the weddings and that we basically just take our stuffing. Once it's all ready to go,
I can hold the bag.
sure, roll that down. Try not to get the raw chicken on you at all. Straight in there, because you can see it's a fairly loose product.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, as we cook it, the chicken proteins will cook up, and it will become a solid mass.
So I have to say, this is the first time that I've stuffed chicken with chicken.
This is the first time you stuffed chicken with chicken?
Yeah,
What goes with chicken? Chicken.
I guess so. So this goes in the freezer and then it comes out and it looks like this.
That is correct. So these would go in the freezer for later.
Okay.
And then we take our beautiful organic chicken breast.
Very large organic chicken breast, might I
And we
add.
just take our knives and we just go in and we just put a quick knife slice in there.
Okay.
So then I just go in with my fingers and make the hole a little bit larger, as you can see. So
Got
it's
it.
a nice deep cavity. And you just take your frozen piece of chicken, you just nicely wedge it in there. And then we usually just wrap our chicken in a little bit of saran wrap. And we just do a nice tight roll. So the chicken itself,
So
seal
are
it,
we
air seal it.
Are we cooking it with this plastic wrap on?
We are cooking it fully in the plastic wrap. So as you can see, I sealed it.
And it's cryovac.
Cryovac in a bag, all
Yeah.
sealed, all nice and rolled up. Take it out. There's your plastic. You take it out of the plastic. Now this is already fully cooked.
Okay.
Throw it in the oven and just let it get a little bit golden brown.
Okay, so Andrea, we have our little gear set up here. This is big time. This is almost like my old time camping gear, but probably way more sophisticated. So we're gonna pan sear this chicken, get a little brown on it.
Sure. So
Okay.
a little bit of oil. We're just gonna take the chicken. We're just gonna put it straight in that nice hot sizzling pan.
Got it.
So we just want to get a little bit of color on the skin.
So now when we put this in the oven, how long does it need in the oven?
Because it's already cooked, we're really just browning it and getting it, so it's about 5 minutes, not long at all.
Okay.
Okay, so we're just going to put this in the oven. It should take about 5 minutes or so. So just quickly roll it over.
Okay, so we have our chicken breast in the oven. Now we're gonna make the sauce.
Now we're going to make some sauce.
Now is this where the magic happens?
This is where the magic happens.
Okay, so what are we putting in the sauce?
Some diced shallot,
Okay.
some fresh thyme, some garlic, a little bit of chicken stock, white wine, salt and pepper. We're going to finish it with some butter.
Okay, so we have our little pan.
Nice. definitely a kitchen pan. So we need a little bit of oil to start.
Okay.
And we're gonna put our shallots in.
Got it.
We don't want to get any color on our shallots or garlic today, so this is gonna go fairly quickly.
Okay.
Just a little bit of garlic there. That's about for those of you that don't measure things in metric, that's about a teaspoon each.
Okay.
We're gonna add some chicken stock in there, which,
Oh wow, I can really smell the garlic.
and then equal parts white wine and
Equal parts chicken stock.
equal parts white wine, equal parts chicken stock.
Okay.
We're just gonna take some of this here thyme, put a bunch of thyme in. So that's like 6 grams of that, so a little bit more. A little bit of salt, brings up the flavor, a little bit of pepper. So once we get all that, we're gonna turn the heat right down. I'm gonna add a little bit more chicken stock into there.
You really get a hit of that, of the garlic for sure. But who doesn't like garlic?
So then we're gonna start to just slowly whip in our butter. The technical term is a beurre blanc.
Of what now?
A beurre blanc.
Okay.
So French for white sauce, butter, and wine.
So now what would happen if you were to add all the butter at once?
We would end up with a kind of greasy
Sauce that wouldn't, no one would really
be
like.
the liquid, and then it would be like basically the fat separated from it. This is gonna help thicken this sauce to almost like a gravy consistency by the time we're finished.
Okay, so that's not too much butter at one time?
No, the further along you get, the more you can add.
Got it.
It starts to, it acts as a cooling effect. So now that you're not too hot, you're getting that nice blend. The butter will also help move out some of that really strong garlic flavor that you were getting earlier.
Right. But this will really, I think,
It adds a depth to it.
yeah, well,
obviously.
and the creaminess of the butter.
Most classical French chefs finish with butter. We also finish most of our sauces here with butter.
Because butter makes everything better.
It does. It's sweet. Like I said, it adds a smooth richness to it. So we want it to be a nice consistency, so it just coats the back of the spoon, which we're nearly there. So this should be just about the end of the butter that we need. Okay, so I'll just take that off the heat, let the butter finish melting in there. And there is our butter thyme sauce.
Now we're doing a little bit of the side veg here, right?
A little bit of side, because you want a complete meal when you sit down.
Of course.
We're gonna do some Manitoba baby potatoes.
Manitoba baby potatoes.
We are coming to the growing season end in Manitoba, so we're trying to use as much of the fresh as we can. So we're gonna start with the potato, which
Okay.
I have parboiled earlier just because it's not terribly exciting to watch water boil.
No, exactly.
So, and then we're just gonna cut up a little bit of fresh herb here. So
We have
again,
the parsley.
the parsley that you saw earlier.
Okay, do you want to know why I like parsley? Because of the antioxidants.
If it's leafy and green, it's high in antioxidants.
Okay, so here's a question for you. This is what someone told me, and it could be a myth. But is it true that spinach you get more out of it if it's cooked as opposed to if it's raw?
I think it's partially just because of the volume you end up cooking down in that, and all that water comes out. So
Yeah.
you're definitely compacting those nutrients into what's left of the vegetable at that point.
Okay.
So I'm just going to take that and just put it in there.
Okay, so in here we have parsley, we have some thyme.
And some tarragon. That gives us a little bit of that, licoricey flavor in the background there, making the potatoes a little bit more interesting. Obviously salt and pepper. And then I'm just going to take some of this olive oil, toss it in there so you have just a nice light coating. And then we're just going to take our potatoes, add them in, just like that. And then I'm just going to take them over to the oven.
Okay, so here we have our beautiful roasted potatoes and the chicken. Okay, what do we do now?
So, well, I always start with my potatoes. Take a few of these and just right in the center, and take some of our delicious broccolini that we will also be serving later with the other salmon dish. And then finally we have the chicken. So you can see now it's beautiful and golden and crisp skin. Still looks a little bit like your torpedo. Just gonna take it. Lay our slices out. Lay that piece of chicken skin right on there. Just give it a quick refresh there. Just pour it right over.
Oh my goodness, Andrea, this looks beautiful.
So that's our dish, ready to go out to the guests. Knife and fork for you. So this is the pistachio and cranberry stuffed chicken breast with a thyme beurre blanc.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited to dig into this right now. I wanna make sure I get some of this delicious stuffing. The chicken is awesome, but the sauce definitely makes the dish. I'm gonna have a little bit of this chicken skin. Oh my goodness, Andrea, this is wonderful. This is definitely like some comfort food, hey?
It is some comfort food and it is a guest favorite.
So would you say this is traditional French comfort food?
I think it's, yeah, I mean the French comfort food is obviously those things that remind you of your childhood. So roast chicken dinner, which this is reminiscent of, and then, you know, things like, you know, the pies and the pastries and all that.
I'm really getting the black licorice. That's the tarragon. Okay,
Yeah,
now
it's a nice, refreshing sort of counterpoint to that rich chicken.
Okay, so here we have the broccolini, and I'm sure I'm really gonna get a hint of that lemon. Surprisingly, it's not overpowering.
No, it's subtle. It definitely is there to bring out the citrus flavors that are already in the broccolini.
I will say, Andrea, when I saw you put all that lemon zest on, I was like, oh wow, that's gonna be lemony, but it's actually really nice, and it really actually has mellowed out. Definitely a 10 out of 10. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Couldn't write down all those yummy recipes in time? meghanduffy.ca has everything online, complete with tips from Meghan Chef. Also, be sure to connect with us on social media to get a sneak peek at upcoming episodes, behind-the-scenes footage, and exclusive news.
Call 12 Stone Creations for your home repairs, renovations, and maintenance. From small repairs to large projects, we've got you covered. For more details, visit us at 12stonecreations.com or call us at 204-599-3357.
Do you own or manage a restaurant that you would love to have featured on Meghan's menu? If so, email us and tell us everything about your establishment. But hurry, our next season is booking up fast. If you're interested in being on the show or working with us behind the scenes, we have volunteer opportunities available, and we would love to hear from you.
Okay, so Andrea, now it's time to make one of my all-time favorites, dessert, obviously. So what are we making today?
We're gonna make a Chevre Cheesecake. So the first thing that we do is obviously we line our baking sheet with parchment.
So as you can see, it's just a circular thing. You put it right in there, and that just helps to lift it when you cut it, doesn't it?
That's correct. It just keeps it from sticking to the bottom of the thing, of the pan, whatever you're using. If you have silicone paper, that's great. If you don't, just spray it down really well with either veg spray or with butter. But if you have something that can line it, it makes it just, it gives you those nice clean edges.
Okay, so we have our brown butter.
We have our slightly brown butter. So 200 grams of graham cracker and 20 grams of melted butter. So in here we have our cream cheese and Chevre blend. And then, so we just put it all in and we're just gonna get it started here a little bit. So I'm just blending this on high to whip a little bit of air into it and loosen it up a little bit so it'll take the other ingredients really well. Once you get that cream cheese nice and soft, we're gonna add in the sugar. And we're just gonna cream those two together. So basically you want the sugar to be dissolved fully into the cream cheese before you add the next ingredients. Well, that's whipping away.
And the great thing about cheesecake is that at this point you can really add any flavor you want. If you wanted lemon, if you wanted chocolate, if you wanted raspberry, that's when you would just add it in.
That's correct. For our purposes, we have a vanilla bean here. So all I did was split it in half. Just gonna run the back of my knife down it, get all that delicious vanilla out.
So the one thing that I always find very interesting is that, like, when people think of vanilla, they think of white or ivory color, but really it's black.
So we're just gonna scrape down the sides and make sure that everything's well incorporated before we add the next ingredient in. Always make sure you get all the way to the bottom of your mixer when you're doing this. I'm just gonna put my spoon over there for now. We'll let that go for 1 more minute.
Okay.
Add in this, which, like I said, is just, it smooths it out, adds a little bit of a richness to the texture. So this is just some sour cream.
And that's about 1 cup of sour cream.
That is exactly 1 cup.
This was in the oven for 5 minutes.
For 5 minutes at 350, so it doesn't take very long, and you get this sort of starting golden brown on it.
Got it.
And we'll just lift this up.
So now we get to add the creamy goodness inside.
Inside the delicious cream. So the Chevre gives it a little bit of an extra sharp flavor.
Now, when you serve this cheesecake, do people say, you know, something tastes a bit different about this cheesecake, and do they know it's the Chevre, or they just think it's all cream cheese and they really have no idea?
You can taste the Chevre in it. So,
Yeah?
So some people may not identify exactly what the flavor is, but they definitely know that there's something unique about this cheesecake, something that you're not going to get at every other restaurant. You can just take that and just smooth it right out so it's nice and even all the way along.
And I love the look of the little vanilla bean speckles.
It's always, you know, it adds a certain charm to it.
Yeah, it does.
So we just smooth that right out, and for a conventional oven, this will be 1 hour and 25 minutes.
And what's the temperature?
325.
325,
So
an
we
hour
go
and 25
low-
minutes.
So we go low and slow with cheesecake.
If you're looking for a little elegance, come and see Chef Andrea at Terrace 55. You're gonna love it just as much as I'm gonna love this Chevre cheesecake. It's creamy, it's rich. The best part about it is definitely the vanilla bean. I am a huge fan of this cherry compote. Now, normally with cherry compote, I would pair a nice chilled glass of Pinot Grigio. But for all you mamas to be out there, a nice cold glass of milk works just as well.
Couldn't write down all those yummy recipes in time? meghanduffy.ca has everything online, complete with tips from Meghan Chef. Also, be sure to connect with us on social media to get a sneak peek at upcoming episodes, behind-the-scenes footage, and exclusive news.